The targeted censorship of Newsmax is starting to get a life of its own. Now, I'm not willing to say it's a movement yet, but the left's attempt to control what you see and hear is rubbing real Americans the wrong way. And the fact that once trusted corporate citizens are abusing our loyalty to their brands and the immense fortunes they built out of that loyalty in an effort to attack our most fundamental rights, like free speech, is creating a stir I've not seen in quite some time. Those who deny free speech are never the good guys. That's a fundamental fact we explore in today's preamble. Before I get to what AT&T's DirecTV doesn't want you to know, I have to send out a big thank you to an ideological ally, but a business competitor. Fellow conservative Sean Hannity is, to my knowledge, the first personality at Fox News to have the integrity to stand against AT&T's attack on free speech. He tweeted out actor Jon Voight's message of condemnation of AT&T and DirecTV's in-your-face ideological bigotry against conservatives. You know, I was telling one of my bosses here at Newsmax just yesterday. As many of you know, I'm a conservative talk show host. My Houston, Texas radio show can be heard on Getter, Rumble, and on the KSEV app. And for nearly a decade, I have defended Fox News and the attacks launched against them by left-wing crazy people. But after I, your liberty-loving Latino, and Newsmax were attacked, nothing but crickets from Fox. Now we know they know how to defend other media companies. It was Fox who stood up in support of that vile, fake journalist Jim Acosta when his press pass was revoked under the Trump administration. Fox believed that as disgusting, biased, and dishonest as Acosta is, that his voice shouldn't be silenced. But Fox is nowhere to be found when the same is being done to Newsmax. After the shock of their silence wore off, I was left with an overwhelming sense of betrayal. I hadn't felt that way about Fox since November of 2020 on election night. Many folks are angry about AT&T's attack on Newsmax, and letters like this put Fox's silence in the proper perspective for me anyway. Sherry writes, quote, "Since I'm unable to verbally communicate, I asked my husband to call DirecTV and ask them why they removed Newsmax. They danced around the issue, couldn't give him a straight answer. They stuttered like Biden's press secretary. I told hubby to call Dish. I want my Newsmax and my liberty-loving Latino. Right now I'm watching Newsmax on my cell phone, watching on Pluto TV. I beat cancer but lost my voice. But my voice will be heard somehow. How much more are we supposed to take? I apologize for venting. Thanks for listening." Look, you don't owe me an apology, Sherry. You and millions of other Americans have been victimized by a woke corporate agenda that infects AT&T and DirecTV. Sherry survived cancer. It took her vocal cords, but she found a way to have her voice heard. It puts the silence of some in the proper light, doesn't it? But now we know why AT&T, a large recipient of taxpayer dollars and subsidies, along with DirecTV, are silencing us. The dam is breaking on the corruption that the federal establishment has been dishing out to we, the people. Congressman Comer has found an answer to one of the questions the Chris Salcedo show has been asking for weeks now. How is it that the National Archives knew every menu, cocktail napkin, and memento in Trump's possession, but had no clue as to the sensitive classified documents that Joe Biden had in his possession for over 6 years? And where were all the press releases from the National Archives against Biden that we saw against Trump? Well, it turns out that only 2 entities have the authority to stop the National Archives from issuing press releases, if they were even inclined to issue press releases in Biden's case. Only the White House and the Department of Injustice had that authority. This is yet another sign that our government is corrupt and has grown beyond the consent of the governed. It seems the entirety of government is now committed, using our money, to shielding Hunter Biden and his daddy from paying the piper on their shady business deals with America's enemies. Hunter's latest strategy is to claim that his laptop from hell was stolen. Now let me pause there and point out that Joe Biden's junkie son is far from being a god, as he claimed of himself and his daddy to be in an interview. To the contrary, Hunter Biden is quite dumb, quite pampered, in quite the example of white liberal privilege. As he claims his infamous laptop from hell was stolen, Hunter just admitted the laptop is his. As to the idea that his laptop was, quote, stolen, documentation with what appears to be Hunter Biden's signature states that equipment left with a computer repair shop where Hunter left it after 90 days of notification of completed service will be treated as abandoned. Not stolen, abandoned. Now, I have no doubt that an absence of brain cells might prevent Hunter from knowing the difference, but factually, those two words, abandoned and stolen, are not the same. Another reason why the laptop is so problematic for Democrats in the White House, Congress, and the boardrooms at AT&T and DirecTV is that evidence suggests that the Bidens are involved in a massive influence peddling scheme that compromised the safety and security of the United States in exchange for a payday from our nation's enemies. The list of enemies includes Mother Russia and Communist China. Not only have a significant number of Democrats gone on record opposing any investigations of the genocidal racist slave state that is China, Democrats are also implicated in schemes to get money from and funnel money to our communist enemy. The latest bombshell happened during the 2022 midterm elections. Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and several of her Democrat colleagues and one Republican paid advertising costs to a Communist Party newspaper in China. As everybody knows, in communist countries, the government controls everything. That is why the DOJ classified this so-called newspaper as a, quote, foreign agent. In other words, Democrats' campaign cash funded an enemy foreign agent from China. I'm betting you won't see any of these stories on the liberal channels to which AT&T and DirecTV pays massive carriage fees. And that's the point. Whenever Democrats get elected, folks, their first order of business is to control the message, to explain why all the harm they're about ready to dish out to you and your family is a good thing. In an era where their line of excrement was no longer believed because folks had alternative points of view and news coverage pushing back on the left-wing narrative over news, the decision was made to eliminate all left-wing opposition. Dictators do this. Democrats do this. And yes, AT&T and DirecTV do this. Now, I want to be plain. I believe that AT&T has every right to be woke and anti-American. What they don't have the right to do is to be woke, anti-American, and take one dime of taxpayers' money. I am so grateful that so many of you Americans out there prize the American ideal of free speech. I hope those who are on the sidelines currently, like Fox, decide that that American principle of free speech is for everyone, not just left-wing entities like CNN and MSNBS.